Hello, everyone. My name's Ron.
And I'm Paul.
I just want to put at the beginning of this video because today's subject's over the Illuminati, and we did not cover it as well as we'd like, and we'd like to apologize for that. Basically, actually, it's not even really an apology. It's basically, I just want to say, if you're coming here for some hard facts about the Illuminati, I would probably try again later. It just went all over the place. You know, it was spider webbed out into so many directions, and I just don't feel like we did as good of a job as we could have. Don't get me wrong, this is an entertaining episode. I feel that we got a lot done on this, but at the same time, it kind of fell apart toward the end of it. So definitely enjoy this. Laugh at us. Our goal is to make you giggle and try to learn something.
They can't all be winners, Ron.
Exactly. They can't all be winners. But hopefully maybe we win in the fact that we kind of make such a disaster out of it that it's entertaining. So, again, bear with us on this one. But we hope you enjoy it either way. If not, come back next week. We promise we'll have another one. But hope you enjoy.
Yeah.
Sunshine. You've seen any Hermitage movie before, right? Yes. Goose from Goose Mama. Alright. Thunder Rooster Podcast. Hand clappy clap. Jesus Christ.
Welcome to the Thunder Rooster Podcast. My name is Ron.
I'm Paul.
And we are here with another episode, and we are covering the conspiracy side of things this week. And I guess we'll go ahead and out it out right now. It's over the Illuminati. But first and foremost, I want to kind of get it out there already. Some shameless promotion once again. In the intro bit is a little sample of one of my songs off my EP, Blue. It's under the band name Mac the Knife. Nice little t-shirt right here.
Very nice.
Check it out. But you can check that out on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Google Play, as well as Deezer. So if you want to check it out and hear more of the album or EP, go for it. As well, it's probably out by now, depending on when this gets dropped. But on the 29th of September, I'm releasing my next EP, which will be titled Red. Getting real creative with these names.
You betcha.
All right, so we want to kind of discuss a little bit about our last episode, which we covered Slipknot. And let's talk about the little fun mishaps and I don't know, it was just a hard time to do that episode.
I mean, you couldn't. I mean, when we were putting the mask on you couldn't even hear anything.
No, I actually had to cut holes in the ears so I could put my headphones on so I could hear it.
I mean, that thing just came tight on your face, like, and you freaked me out. And I'm not gonna lie, I was freaked out for a couple days.
Well, the funny thing about the ear thing, I remember reading an interview years ago with Jim Root, because when he first got in the band, he was just putting on like this gimp mask. It was basically a whole black cover mask, and he would talk about how the sweat would just fill up his ears with sweat all the way up, so he's basically underwater the entire time he was playing.
I gotta say, at least, you know, when we did a little trial run, I mean, I felt a little sweat coming on, but I was very surprised. It was not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I thought I was going to be dying.
We were actually pretty good. So, I mean, I don't know about wearing 20 years worth of it, but
oh yeah. definitely
so I'll give him mad props for that.
we have a newfound respect for those guys.
Oh God, yes.
I've been a huge fan of theirs since the first album, but all these years later, finally put a mask on and didn't even move around a whole lot, and I was like, whew, these guys.
You couldn't see, you couldn't hear, but it was all for the love of Slipknot.
I couldn't see out of the eyes. I had to cut little holes in the thing because it had mesh, like a mesh netting over the eyes. So I had to cut the holes out. And even throughout the episode, I'm sure you'll see or have seen on the last video, but I'm constantly like picking at the eye hole or adjusting the mask because
couldn't see.
I'm getting poked in the eyes.
And again, because you couldn't see your eyes, it was freaky as hell.
Yeah. That was a good time,
It was
though.
great. Yes.
And
we'll get to do it again.
I was going to say, it's like, we're going to do the mask thing again.
You got it. We'll do it again.
So let us know if you want us to do the mask thing again. Okay. It was interesting, and it was definitely it was a fun challenge to say the least.
I just hope maybe there'll be a glimmer of hope and someone from Slipknot will see it. Well, you never know. Oh, that would be your big white dream right there, Ron.
Right. I'm creaming my panties right now.
Anyway, so let's get into it. Illuminati, huh?
Illuminati.
Oh boy, not like no one's ever heard a little bit something here and there about that, but
right. I mean, you can't really go an extended period of time without hearing some kind of thing about the Illuminati. It was in like magazine pictures or music. There's always some kind of reference.
Conspiracy and it's thought process. All these
symbolisms,
ideals.
hand gestures, occult
propaganda. I mean,
the
list
all
goes on and on and on.
But we're gonna take it back to the start of the Illuminati, and that actually starts in Bavaria, which is now a part of Germany. But back in 1773, we have a man named Adam Weishaupt.
The professor.
Yes, he was a professor at the University of Ingolstadt, and he became a professor of canon law and practical philosophy. And this guy basically was around Jesuits all the time. We're talking like, think of Catholic monks. And around this time, we have this era of enlightenment going on where people are starting to kind of loosen the grips of religion and mythology and stuff like that and starting to think more practical. And while he was at this university, even though at the time the Catholic Church actually disbanded the Jesuits from this area at the time, there was a majority of Jesuit professors and higher ups that ran the university. So Adam Weishaupt was basically one guy doing the teaching and stuff that was not clerical, and
because but you're right. So as you were stating, he wanted to find, as far as coming up with his own theory, better way to describe it, he saw what was out there in the world. Okay, we're entering enlightened period, so it's the idea of rational thought. It's secularism, things just trying to get away from church and state, just to try to be, your own person. Again, we were not in this time frame, but when we go back and we look, but he saw the abuses of power. He saw the hierarchy. He saw the structure. So then, what did he do? He created his own social group, basically.
Right.
I mean, that's what it would have been. I mean, they call it the Order of the Illuminati, but that's what his shtick was.
Yeah, his actual goals for his secret society was to oppose superstition and obscure, it's called like obscurantism. I can't talk.
I know you're talking about. Yeah, I know what you mean.
But religious influence over the public and, abuses of state power, essentially. And that's kind of what I was trying to go for earlier was, even though Pope Clement the 14th disbanded the Jesuits from that area at the time, a lot of Jesuits actually had a lot of power in the financial backings for this place. So,
Sure.
They still had a pretty good stronghold on it. So this kind of made Weishaupt very anti-clerical. He wanted to, basically create his own little group to kind of express his ideas. So he was basically resolving to spread the ideas of enlightenment through some sort of secret society. And he was going to join the Freemasons, but he found that it was too expensive, which I'm sure they are pretty expensive.
Sucks being poor.
Let me tell you. But it kind of makes me wonder,
Right.
in a lot of research of this and stuff like that was, is the Illuminati, is it basically a Freemasonry ripoff? Because
It's good, very good point.
basically what Weishaupt did was he took all the ideas and the grading and stagings and just the levels that you can reach, basically based all that off of the Freemasons.
Yeah.
And from stuff that I've researched on it, I had two different sides of this thing. Part of them were saying that he did go into the Freemasons and joined right away. And he kind of, ended up joining another sect later on. But a majority of what I found said that he didn't do it because it cost too much.
Mm-hmm.
And he basically formed this little order. And they originally called it the Covenant of Perfectibility.
Mm-hmm.
And that's they went by the perfectibility or perfectibilist or something like that. Perfectibilist. Words. Ooh. But yeah, basically they thought it was a stupid name, so they ended up changing it. Later on, they actually they kept that name for a little while.
Sure, why not? I'd change it.
But yeah. So it was Weishaupt and about 4 other students from the University of Ingel. I forgot the name already. Let me look at my notes here real quick. Ingolstadt.
Mm-hmm.
I was on the right track.
You were almost there.
I definitely prepared myself for this a lot.
Always.
But yeah, there's a. I don't want to say there's a long history here and a lot of details that go into this, but they ended up changing the name to the Order of Illuminati.
Yep.
Or Order of Illuminati.
Mm-hmm.
And that was actually that ended up being the winner of the pick, but he really wrestled with the idea of calling it the Order of the Bees or the Bee Club.
I like the Order of the Illuminati better. I don't like the Order of the Bee.
I don't know what they were thinking. I heard something along the lines of like swarming ideas. I was like,
but then that once this was established, it created a major buzz, and people were,
oh,
you like that?
Coughing.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Not even trying.
Anyway, so no, what I was going at is everything created a buzz, and but the church and others were not really taken very strongly to what was going on, because it was like, the church has a set of rules in his society, if you want to call it that. Self-knowledge. That was one of the strong suits that he was trying to push. Self-knowledge.
Yeah, he's incredibly intelligent.
Self-improvement for yourself. Free thinking and social reforms, because there's issues and things that happen all the time. And then that was a threat.
Yeah.
But see, there was no way that they could get out of it. It was just the church came across this and they said, nope.
Yeah, it's actually an influencer in getting the church to basically disband the Illuminati, which ultimately became of the Bavarian Illuminati, was
Right.
the Catholic Church was talked basically. Who we got here? The Elector of Bavaria, Charles Theodore. The Catholic Church basically encouraged them, and it was actually the Rosicrucians that did the influence to the Catholic Church to get them disbanded, because they were growing quite rapidly. They'd basically taken over a bunch of Freemason lodges and made them their own, which is pretty ballsy back then.
Yeah, I mean, I get it.
But, yeah. So, the Illuminati that originated didn't last very long. It started in 78 and it ended in 85. So, they're only around for about 7 years. But there are obviously theories that it goes on to this day. Mainly, when it disbanded, there was rumors that several years after its disbandment, that they actually kept it underground and was responsible for the French Revolution, which is pretty crazy. But not as crazy as some of the stuff we're going to get into.
Oh, no, not quite.
Yeah, so what do you got, Paul?
No, I was just to elaborate. There's this period, it ends. Then we don't know, does it still exist? Is it continuing on? The next century,
Right.
19th century, 20th. We don't know. But what we do tend to see is that there are other people that obviously have opinionations involved with it. One of the things that I saw here as I was reading is that outside of what was the original chapter of the Illuminati came to be where, okay, well, who is actually at fault? Who is the Illuminati? You had started having more discussions with other people, other groups. Some thought, oh, maybe it was around the 1920s. Maybe it was the Jews.
Yeah,
that was discussed, and then we got all the way into post-World War II. Well, you got anti-communists saying that the communists are, in the Illuminati.
right.
You're like, how the hell does that happen?
Right.
How could two extremes like that, So there's constant reflection, there's constant discussion about these topics. And again, no one knows for sure. But the one thing that just kind of, I'm looking at a couple of videos, but the one thing that kind of just gets my attention is a video clip of former President George Bush.
Oh, yeah. The famous New World Order speech.
We'll have a little link on our video here to show you that. And I'm telling you, again, allegedly, but
yeah, actually, I'll play that on our break.
It was just crazy because he provided a speech and it was basically discussing about what he would call the New World Order. And that was basically showing that obviously other nations, other countries would come together to unify as one. It would be a great deal.
Right.
But what kind of is a little weird is that as he's talking about this is just my reflection, it kind of freaks me out a little bit.
Well, yeah, that stoked a big fire amongst conspiracy theorists for sure.
Because he literally, I feel like he's staring into your soul. And he literally is staring. He's got this look.
A new world order.
Right? And he literally...
And when it's successful.
Yeah.
And
Daddy.
it will be.
Yeah, Daddy, yeah. And then literally he looks at you and he goes, oh, it'll be a success.
Right.
And the first thing I think of is, I look at him and I hear it's the Emperor from Star Wars.
Right.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
It will be. And I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
Okay. And I was 11 years old at the time. I mean, the video's from 91 and I was like, wow, that's crazy.
Okay.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
All right, so with the NWO speech you were talking about, that really stoked a lot of fires that were already kind of lit for the conspiracy side of things. They've always kind of thought that there was some kind of new world order brewing in the shadow government. And, once he said that, had the internet been around, it would have been buzzing.
He sucks your soul in.
Right.
It's so scary.
So with the Illuminati being disbanded back when it was in 1785, there's a few coincidences, but 1776, when our country was founded, that
July
was
4th.
Yeah, that was basically, that happened a couple months after, Weishaupt first,
which is pretty interesting.
founded his original,
it's like, don't
order
you
of perfectibility.
do you think that some of his practices were maybe discussed with the other founding fathers? Do you think it had anything to do with that? Maybe.
I don't know. I
Just
think
because
more
because it was so quick.
Well, it was called the era of enlightenment for a reason, because it was
Right.
happening all over the place.
Mhm.
I think a lot of Freemasonry might have influenced our founding fathers for sure.
Oh, for sure.
We'll have a whole another episode on Freemasons, surely down the road. But you can look at a road map, Washington D.C., and there's the streets make a pentagram, for crying out loud. But so there's a lot of theories that it carried on. Like I mentioned earlier, the first theory of which was it went underground and it didn't disband, and it started the French Revolution. There's quite a few other things that kind of get mentioned as them having a hand in, with things as far as recently with JFK getting shot. These things are crazy when you think about them. But, as Paul will get into, there is a lot of randomness, a lot of, people just trying to claim they're part of Illuminati and so on.
But it's like, are they trying to show it off? Are they trying to put it out there to us to think, yes, it's real, or no, it's not real? Because those things are relevant.
Yeah. Well, one of the sayings that Weishaupt had in starting this, basically went along the lines of, to be a secret. If you do any of your business, it's going to be under another name. It's not going to be known that you're doing it.
Right. And what's the point of being in a secret society if everyone else knows about it?
Right. And let me be the first to say, I think the Illuminati was the worst secret society ever, because everybody knows about it.
We do now. Yeah.
But in all actuality, I do kind of theorize to myself that, I think what we think of now as the Illuminati may actually be one of those, we'll call it a shell company kind of thing. Let's let it be out there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's call it Illuminati, so people can always point their finger at the Illuminati when there's much bigger secret agencies out there. One recently that got broken up was not broken up, but brought to light, as it were, the NSA. That was a huge thing that nobody knew about until Snowden dropped the bomb on that.
Mr. Edward Snowden.
And they were doing some shadowy shit.
Well, when you're literally listening in on any conversation you want on a phone in the U.S., yeah.
Collecting all that data. And, a lot of it, they're saying that it's just companies collecting it, but obviously the government's doing it for their own purposes as well. And I just want to get in this little tangent real quick, because I think I need to get this out there.
Get it off your chest. Let's go.
All right. With all these companies collecting this data, and I know they've said several times that, all the consumer data is worth gold to all these companies.
Mm-hmm.
At what point are we going to be paid for that data? At what value is our data being placed? I mean, you got to think of it. They are literally raking in all kinds of data, and it is worth billions of dollars.
Sure on it.
At what point do we put our foot down and be like, hey, where's our money? I mean, you're just taking this data. I think if it's valuable and you're taking it from me, that's stealing, right?
And modern problems require modern solutions.
I think the only way you stop that is if you get rid of your phone,
Right.
Get rid of your computer, get rid of your television, get rid of your smartwatch, get rid of anything that has any way to track you.
Well, that's the weasel way they do it, is they have those little agreements at everything.
Of course.
And you basically have to agree in order to use it.
Mm-hmm.
But like Facebook, Google, everything of that nature, it's become a utility for everybody now.
And
It's
you need
not
a damn
just
lawyer sometimes to read some of this. I mean, I might go to a page and it's asking for this information. I'm like, or if I download an app, I'm like, why do you need to know all this?
And you've got 45 pages of user agreement stuff
Right.
to read.
And I mean, I understand most people are like, well, if you don't read it, then that's your own problem. I'm like, I get it, but who has the time or who wants to deal with that? Why would you put something out like that and be like, oh yeah? Because
Well, not only that, what percentage of the population can actually understand what's in that agreement? All right, this is way off subject.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah,
I took us on that nice little horsey
But that's all right.
ride there.
But it's still tied in though.
Yeah,
it's okay.
It really is.
Let's go back in our lane.
All right, back to the Illuminati.
No, but as you were saying, it's like where are the prevalence at? You're talking about at this point. Well, here's one way of showing infringement, or in regards to email. But what about in pop culture, TV, film, print? I mean, we see this every day.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
The symbology.
Now, again, some of the things that we've seen, again, these are this isn't the truth. It's allegedness. I mean, allegedly, we'll look at. There's artists out there, musicians. You guys have seen them. Not to take anything away, but in videos, very prevalent. I'm a fan of Lady Gaga, but she uses imagery. I mean, the eye.
There's so many pictures of
the
celebrities.
Pyramid.
Covering the eye for the all-seeing eye, or doing the whole 666
right
sign.
And then, and the Illuminati. But again, that's distinguished between what, Rockefeller Records is for Jay-Z.
I'm just going to say, in context to this, if we ever do end up making anything of ourselves with this, they're going to take what I did just there as an example, and they're going to be like, they're in the Illuminati.
No, we're not.
Interestingly enough, before we even decided that this was going to be a episode, I was followed by somebody on Instagram. I don't know, probably like a week or two ago, and it said something along the lines of Order of Illuminati, and I don't know. It was just funny.
You tell me that.
I did not.
Son of a bitch.
I'll see if I can find it real quick. Talk about something.
Pretty much. Jeez. But no, I mean, it's all out there. And then outside of what we might see from, public figures, I mean, it's in advertisements. Hell, I told you the other day, I was looking at some things and I'm like, this is crazy. Monster Energy drink, for example. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The slogan on there says, Unleash the Beast.
Yeah.
What most people might not know about this is that the actual M for the monster, if you look at the Hebrew alphabet, the letters that tie into the M is actually the number 6.
Yeah. Each pillar of the M was like the numerical Hebrew.
So you're throwing 3 sixes.
Yeah.
And you're going to unleash the beast. I'm
That's
just saying.
On the can.
I'm just saying.
Unleash the beast.
Just saying. Another one that I've seen, Google Chrome, the application, the ball, the little circle. You look close at it, it actually registers 3 6s.
Yeah, we'll show all this as we're going. If you're watching us on YouTube,
Yeah.
you'll be able to see all that. For all our podcast listeners that don't know, we have a YouTube channel.
And then it even came into the, like, I even found things on the App Store. Like, you know, the App Store, the Apple App Store icon, Masonic compass. Gmail, same thing. Masonic arch apron. The Google Chrome, 666. Google Play, shape of a pyramid. I mean, it is out there. Look at the back of your $1 bill on the pyramid. There's the eye. I mean, it's all there. And again, we don't know if that's just a folklore or if that's like, this is what's going down.
No, there's always some rhyme or reason to these things, and that's the one thing I want to find out. It's like, why do we have a pyramid on the back of our dollar?
Right.
There's also some theory that on the dollar bill, the $1 bill, the picture that we see of George Washington may actually be Adam Weishaupt, because they look a lot similar, and they could have just put him on the dollar bill and said, "This is George Washington." Yeah. You know, I mean, I don't know how much I can put into that, but
and again, that's
another theory that's out there.
Just like our beautiful advertisement up here, another theory.
Our advertisement.
Well, man walks on moon.
Yeah, that's another conspiracy out there.
For years, we were told that we were the first one on the moon.
I'm not saying that
it is or isn't, but there's info out there to say maybe it wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, part of me has some reservations about it, because, I mean, the side that says that we didn't makes a lot of sense.
Right.
Mainly, the reason why we don't go back is because we lost the formula to how to get up there. And it's like, really? That's
how about their suits? The suits from before, and that's a whole nother show.
Yeah, we'll make that another show one day.
But you know where I'm getting at. I mean, again, it's the first initial thought was, yeah, that's this, and then you start to hear other things. And you go, oh, was this a movie set? Did they just make everything up like a big motion picture and fool everybody?
Right. You never know.
We don't know, but yeah, I mean, just the idea of just the imagery that's being put out there, the company's logos of their products. I mean, it just, that really messes with me sometimes. I mean, just seeing those things, I was like, I never would have thought of that at all. And there it is right in front of me. Well, Monster drink is the most messed up thing in my opinion.
Well, that's the thing. There's always like a way you can kind of boil down things. You know, there's meanings in everything, you know, from numbers to colors, like say like green equals like money or envy, red equals like lust or excitement, or, you know, there's whole categories and stuff where advertisement agencies and stuff will use this as a diagram of how to best advertise to people using colors, shapes, and, you know, all kinds of things. So it doesn't surprise me that, you know, that people would suggest that there's something going on with, you know, we'll say the Illuminati, but who knows? There's definitely a lot of symbolism that you can't ignore. Mainly, like, anytime there's like an award show or a Super Bowl performance, there's usually some kind of, you know, occult symbolism in this stuff, and it's hard to ignore. I mean, you initially hear about these kinds of conspiracies and you want to write them off because they sound ridiculous, but I mean, you think it's a coincidence here and there, but you see it keep happening. It's getting ridiculous.
No, perfect example. The death of a celebrity.
Yeah.
We can go back to Elvis. People keep saying they see him all the time, or they don't see him. Tupac Shakur, same thing. I saw Tupac here. Maybe I didn't. Yeah. Okay. What I don't understand is, and maybe this has to play off that principle, but sometimes I find it a little interesting that some of the people who are then no longer with us become more successful and more prosperous in death than in life.
Yeah. It could also be the other side of that being
Of
like,
course, but
you know, you always want something more when you can't have it, you know.
true.
So
True.
but also a lot of people, like, you know, we've had a lot of recent deaths of famous musicians.
Yeah.
You know, and like Charlie Daniels just died, and
Yeah.
you know, there could be a lot of youngsters that's never even heard of Charlie
No.
Daniels before.
Mm-mm.
And you know, that's a lot of reason for people just, you know, the aspect of who is this and why is it a big deal, you know. That could be a big reason why the numbers jump, but at the same time, like you said, I mean, Michael Jackson's been,
That's what I was just going to get at.
they keep putting out
I
stuff
mean,
for him
every year. I mean, I'm
not
just
saying he's still around, but there's a cash cow there.
Cash cow. The idea is he's worth more dead than he is alive.
Yeah.
And that is really a hard thing to kind of actually grab your head around to think about that, because it's the truth.
And that's part of the Illuminati occultism aspect of things. It's just like, apparently, and every time a big celebrity dies, especially if they're presently a huge celebrity, like recently we had Chadwick Boseman die.
Right.
It wasn't long after that happened that we had conspiracy theories pointing out, it's like, hey, this guy was sacrificed, or he knew something that he wasn't supposed to know, kind of thing, you know?
Right. And they throw that, and there's all sorts of there's articles, just things on the web, and there's so much of it, and you can't decipher between it, you know. Right. But it's alarming to think, oh yeah, maybe this was a setup, or no, maybe he was sick and didn't tell anyone, and that was his business. Again, none of us know this, but like you said, I find it very ironic, like just an example, Michael Jackson, because of just how big of a just icon he was, regardless of the things that were carried stigmatic to him.
Yeah.
But still, again, he was worth a hell of a lot more to Sony after he was gone than when he was alive.
Right.
And that's just crazy when you see artists that continuously profit year after year, especially if there's ones that have been deceased that are selling more albums, more merchandise than bands or individuals that are alive.
No, the Michael Jackson one, that's a good one to bring up, because of the fact that he was actually vocally speaking out about a secret organization that basically was trying to oppress people, oppress and control him. And actually, we're going to take a break, and I'm going to show you a clip right now of him doing just that.
It's very important what we're fighting for, because I'm tired. I'm really, really tired of the manipulation. I'm tired of how the press is manipulating everything that's been happening in this situation. They do not tell the truth. They're liars. And they manipulate our history books. The history books are not true. It's a lie. The minute it became the all-time best-selling albums in history in the Guinness Book of World Records, overnight, they called me a freak. They called me a homosexual. They called me a child molester. They said I tried to bleach my skin. They made everything to turn the public against me. This is all complete conspiracy. You have to know that.
All right. The Reese Podcast.
Are you here for the pants party?
The party in my pants. All right. So obviously we see Michael Jackson had some thoughts being thrown about, you know, a secretive organization, a powerful cabal in the shadows. And, you know, it's when it comes to the music industry or just entertainment in general, obviously we've seen the revelations with Charlie Weinstein. You know, there's a lot of abuse of power that goes on with the entertainment industry. And it doesn't shock me at all that, you know, something like that could be going on that we just don't know. I mean, think about it in this terms, you know, don't want to bring this up right now because this will probably be another episode eventually, but Epstein, you know, he probably holds the key to all the skeletons in the closet for a lot of powerful people. Maybe he was in the Illuminati.
I see a sequel movie of National Treasure. What do you think?
Oh my God. Let's bring Nick Cage back for that one.
That'll be a humdinger. Anyway, sorry.
But yeah, I mean,
oh, of course. I mean, look at this guy who I'm not even going to go into it, but for the fact that he lied about all his education. I mean, look what he put together.
Right.
It's a mastermind for what it's worth.
Yeah. I mean,
can't deny that. It's horrible, but yeah.
But yeah, a lot of the opposition for secretive societies, basically, if you have this big, powerful shadow government or shadow power, you know, it's too large to keep a secret. You know, there's somebody who quoted that in order to keep a secret between two people, one of them has to die. I mean,
that sucks.
That's deep, but I mean, I really think that it's not impossible, because if you look at how our armed forces, how our FBI, how the government works, it's all compartmentalization.
Mm-hmm.
And that is one key in order to keep big secrets, is just give everybody their little piece of the puzzle, and that's all they get.
That's what security clearances are for.
Right. So, I mean,
makes sense.
That's the weird thing about like the Illuminati and stuff. That's one of those things where the size and mass of that topic in general, really, it's a conspiracy theorist wet dream, because it literally touches every aspect of conspiracies, from, you know, lizard people to the moon landing being faked, you know, elected officials getting assassinated, to how Vietnam got started by a false flag, or 9/11.
Right.
I mean, it really does kind of touch every little aspect of all the conspiracies.
Hand in hand.
It's just like it's a blanket conspiracy.
Mm-hmm.
And that may be all it is. I mean, it could be it's just a remnant of a past time, and it was just one of those things that got picked out of in history where it failed. But hey, I mean, it was a good idea. Didn't work, but you know.
And it could be a group. It could be one individual.
Mm-hmm.
It could be anything.
Now, I do think that, you know, obviously there is secret societies out there. Some of them not so secret, like, you know, you're about to talk about the Skull and Bones. That's obviously not that secret, because we know.
Not at all.
Yeah. Why don't you tell us a little about the Skull and Bones?
Oh, boy. Well, I mean, this is definitely on the, I would call it Conspiracy Theories 101. Yeah, I think you would say. So there was a chapter, still is prevalent today, Yale University. Some very prominent individuals are a part of this society.
Most recently noted George W. Bush, as well as the vice president nominee.
You had John Kerry.
John Kerry, that's who I was thinking of.
And you had Senior Bush, and then you had Little Bush. Little Bush.
You got the old Bush and the young Bush.
Pretty much. You like how I transition that in? Good.
Is it weird that Bill Clinton's in the middle of two Bushes?
Oh, no. That's not cool. That was freaking great. Anyway. Wow. We did not even go over that, by the way. Anyway.
We are unscripted.
We are totally unscripted.
If you hadn't noticed from the beginning of this podcast, I'm like, what am I talking about?
But seriously, so this organization started 1832. It's got a huge list of very, very successful men in the group, but as notably John Kerry, both the Bushes, father and son, were part of the secret society. And in the past, things were brought up. One thing I kind of go to, some of you might have seen the documentary Fahrenheit 9/11 from Michael Moore, that kind of showcased more or less, obviously, about the events that led to September 11th.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I thought was kind of strange on the information was provided as far as like a pilot photo that involved former President George Bush Jr. W. That was at that point was fabricated with a picture of one of his society brothers from the Skull and Bones.
Yeah.
And that kind of freaked me out a little bit. I just was like, why would you lie about that? You know, I don't know.
I don't know either. I mean, let's be honest. The idea of secret societies or even a secret club,
Right.
it's enticing.
Yeah.
I'd love to have a little club.
Right.
Nobody know. You know. I mean, we all know Fight Club. You're not supposed to talk about that.
That is their first rule. You can't talk about it.
Yeah, so that would be a secret club? Secret society?
Well, it's not now because you said it.
I mean, nobody knows what Fight Club I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, UFC can be considered a fight club. But they don't talk about it. They just have fights and charge people for them. But yeah.
But I see what you mean. Yeah, for sure. No, it was just, it just made you think, you know, things happen, you know, I don't know.
Yeah. But, I mean, there's just echoes of the Illuminati and all kinds of stuff. And it keeps going back to conspiracy theorists because, you know, as you can attest, I mean, David Icke, Alex Jones, huge characters in spitting, you know, the Dark Lords are coming to get you and, you know, turning the frogs gay.
Turn the friggin' frogs gay!
Right? I mean, yeah. Some people think 9/11 was an inside job.
Yeah. Are we having some technical difficulties? I bet you that battery died. And we're back up now. Yeah, it's weird. You know, we've been doing this podcast. This is now episode 7, and we're still learning all kinds of stuff. Even our formats of things, I think that's our big hiccup at the moment is trying to get things set up in a certain way. That way we can keep it consistent, which we're working on very much so. But back to topic. After our technical difficulty and me just rambling about consistency.
You got to be consistent.
Right. But yeah, you know, these characters will echo the shadowy government or cabal, or a lot of people like to call it the Illuminati. Some people just call it the shadow government, or what's another? I'm blanking out right now.
I don't know. I really.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. Zionist, that's another one.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. Yeah.
I hope you're enjoying your drinking game every time we say, you know. We got to make that's got to be.
Someone needs another refill.
Right. I think that's our goal. Well, at some point this weekend, we'll rewatch our own podcast and just drink every time we say.
It's gonna be a quick afternoon.
I like it. I'm gonna own that shit. There's t-shirts coming.
The t-shirt is coming. Yeah, I gotta say.
Yeah. Anything else you want to talk about?
I would just say, if the Illuminati's watching, we're just having a conversation. We're just trying to enlighten people, talk about some issues, but we're good.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I kind of want to add more, but I just.
What do you got to add?
I don't.
What you got?
That's the problem with this subject. It's so all over the place. It's like it's scrambling my brain because there's so many like weaved. There's a giant web of things, and you know you want to talk about. You know how we brought up earlier how there's occult symbolism in the music videos and such. I'm obviously going to have to show some in this video to get my point across.
Of course, because once people see that, they're gonna go, this just makes no sense, because it doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, there's multiple things. At least I came across almost 10 different things. that is right in our face. There's even more stuff that I didn't even include that is out there.
Right.
I just put at least a couple of the ones that were just, I mean, literally eye-catching. And the monster was the thing for me. I'm like, what can be more satanic than that? I'm sorry. It's just my opinion, but I'm like, it says it there.
Well, that's interesting you say that because I think I want to make this a future episode, but while I was doing some research over this, I come across a lot of things that kind of suggest that America wasn't founded on Christian ideas. I mean,
might not have been.
It might have been said it was, but I mean, they were basically escaping, you know, the forced religious aspect of their time. You know, they were basically doing the same thing Weishaupt did when he was trying to make his little, you know, order of perfectibility. You know, he wanted to get his own ideas across, and founding fathers and, you know, Christopher Columbus come over here to have their freedom to be able to do what they want aside from the British rule.
Well, there you go. You said it right there. They wanted to branch out against normal rule.
Right. And a lot of the Freemasons and stuff.
That applies today now, too.
Yeah.
You know, people don't want to follow order. They don't want to follow the rule of the law. They want to come up with their own thing.
Right.
It's kind of very similar.
I understand, because, I mean,
I would too.
Me being my own self, I kind of want to just get some land down in the middle of nowhere and start a commune. Not like the hippie stuff.
No, just get away from them all.
I just want my own little town. Yeah.
It could happen one day. It could very well happen. Yeah.
I don't suppose we have a pecking order for this one.
I don't think so.
The only thing I can think of is just mentioning some conspiracy theories that are definitely, they try to tie to the Illuminati. But we've mentioned a few, 9/11 being a big one. You know, even hearing some of the research and reading some of it. I mean, even though Oklahoma City bombing can be tied to the Illuminati in some way, which basically on that one, and the camera went out again. Difficulties. I'm telling you.
His own chicken shack.
The gambler had his own chicken.
He did.
Interesting. No, I didn't have.
It was Kenny Rogers rotisserie chicken.
Hi there.
Hey.
Actually, are we even recording?
Yeah.
I couldn't see the screen on the Sony, so I was like, "Did you shut that off?" Okay. Hi. I'm gonna throw that clap in there so I know how to edit this. Yeah. I'm sorry, this is all over the place, everybody. It's such a giant, like, spread of everything with the Illuminati. So I definitely wanted us to cover the beginnings of it because that was the actual Illuminati. And there's no real evidence that says that it continued past the 1785. And at this point, it's really all just theories and
secrets.
You know, secrets. So, I mean, what can you do?
What can you do?
You know, we're not really the informative type here, so we like to throw facts in there. Sometimes we'll get it right, sometimes we'll get it wrong, and sometimes we won't know what the fuck we're talking about.
That's what makes us American, Ron. America.
Yeah. But yeah, so the Illuminati is definitely a fun little thing to think about, talk about, and, you know, kind of see where things go. But on my personal opinion, I don't believe the Illuminati actually goes on at the moment. I would suggest that there's other things at play. I mean, there's a lot of evidence for that, but it's not the Illuminati. You know, there's more evidence for the 13 bloodlines. That's something people should look into. But yeah, so much conspiracy stuff. It's exciting, and I love talking about conspiracies, but Jesus Christ, it's all over the place sometimes.
It is, because it could be so many different things.
You know, I got really wrapped up in conspiracies around like 2010. I mean, hardcore.
I was literally after 9/11.
Yeah.
I was scouring the web, reading as much as I could, just because I'm like, it didn't make sense to me.
It was like 2 years after the fact that 9/11 happened, but one of my guitarists in my old band, he had a DVD of Loose Change, I think was like one of the first 9/11 documentaries. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. But yeah, that was one of those things. And we'll do 9/11 for sure. And definitely, that's one of those things. It's hard to deny a lot of stuff unless you just blatantly want to deny it. And
it's a tough thing to talk about, to this day. Some people will believe some of the things like we've seen on the back, and others will say no, that could never happen.
Right.
Ever.
That, or you just don't want to believe that could happen.
Right.
And it's a tough pill to swallow if it is true, that's for sure. Yeah, so what we're going to do here now is we're going to pick our next topic for next week. And Paul, I'm going to give you the honor of rolling it first. Real quick, I will just say we have 6 sides. We have our movie, our music, conspiracy, and paranormal subjects, as well as 2 additional sides of my pick or Paul's pick. All right, let's get it going. What we got?
That was pretty quick.
Music
on top. Yes.
All right.
Musica.
We will do music. Obviously, we need some time to pick one, but that's how this is going to work. And it's our podcast, and we're going to do whatever the hell we want.
That's right.
All right, everybody. Thanks for checking us out again. Stick with us. We're still trying to perfect this whole thing.
Again, I need 1,000 views or 1,000 likes to send me to Mansfield, Ohio. So maybe we could do this maybe around Halloween, Ron.
That would be awesome. Hopefully that episode's before Halloween. But yeah, we need for the record, it shows, today's September 3rd. And this is our 7th episode. So we're giving ourselves enough time to kind of make sure
that we get the 1,000.
Honestly, we wanted to do 5 in a row, basically, first, just to make sure this was going to work, that we were actually serious about it. I know a lot of people suggest in doing a podcast to record a few to have them lined up, but I want to do 5. I wanted to make sure, this could happen. And, today's episode, we fumbled through some stuff. Not going to lie. That's going to happen sometimes. I mean, we work full-time jobs. We're both married. I have a son. I have to
find time.
I have to wake up extra early just to work on this. So, the timing and, we just love doing this. So we're going to have fun with it. We're not going to take ourselves too seriously. And, hopefully we'll get a lot better at this and provide some good entertainment, and we'll be able to still do this. So, support us however you can. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check us out on Instagram at Thunder Rooster Podcast. Check us out on our website where you can find any of our videos, podcasts, any information. You can find our email address if you want to send us an email saying hi, you suck, whatever. But
or we love you guys.
Right. But just let us know. I think by the time this releases, we'll have some kind of merch up on our store. Just head to our website, thunderrooster.com, and check it out. But thanks for sticking around. Thanks for, subscribing and following us. And we'll see you next week.
See you later.
Later. Bye. All right, Mr. Producer Lady, how was that?
She's like, just go home.
No, I just...
She's seriously like, can I fucking go to sleep yet?